Okay, so in this episode we are going to talk about creating basic shapes, okay, and I'm going to use it to explain the fill and stroke over here, and then I'll use it to talk about the layers panel. Okay, a quick one. So make sure you have an artboard. All right, but before we create a shape, okay, as a beginner we have to look at this fill and stroke over here. So if you look at this, you can see that there is white on top, okay, and black at the back. Okay, so the white is the fill and the black behind it is the stroke. I don't know if yours is a different color, but make sure this one, the one at the top, okay, double click it and choose white. Okay, if you click the one at the back, it will come forward. Double click, you can pick black. Okay, so make sure you have this. Now click the bigger one. So let's look at the fill and stroke. Okay, this is what you should be seeing here, and this one is the fill, this is the stroke. The one with a hole in it is the stroke. Okay, you get to know them if you're a total beginner. And if you look closely up here, you can see there is an arrow, or there is two-sided arrow over there. We have, that's the swap. Okay, so when you click on this arrow over here, if I click it right now, you can see that this one becomes black and then the stroke becomes white, because right now the fill is white, the stroke is black. Okay, so if we click the swap, we are swapping the colors, so we will have black for the fill, stroke for the white. Okay, white for the stroke. All right, so let's just create a shape and I will use this to explain. All right, so if you are starting with basic shapes, we are starting with these guys over here. So hit M on the keyboard. When you hit M on the keyboard, a tool will be selected over here. Right click on that tool, you will see a bunch of other tools. You will see all the tools in the group. Okay, bunch of other tools. Anyway, so rounded, we have rounded rectangle, we have ellipse tool, we have polygon tool, we have star tool. Okay, and then the flare. All right, so click the rectangle. All right, so ways you can create a rectangle is by dragging. So you drag, okay, and when you drag, click and drag, you can create a rectangle. Or if you want to create a square, you have to hold shift on the keyboard, you get a square. Okay, so if I hold shift and then I release I get a square. But if I just click and drag, I can get a rectangle like that without holding shift. Okay, and you can create a rectangle from the center using the alt, by holding alt. Okay, when you hold alt and you click and drag, you can see that, know the difference. Okay, if I click without holding any key, pressing down any key, I hold, you see I'm dragging, and this will be like an anchor point at the top left. See, I'm dragging here. But if I hold alt, click and drag, you can see that the point will be at the center, and you can adjust the shape to be a rectangle. Good. And if you want a square from the center too, when you just hold shift and alt, you can create a square from the center. If I don't press any key, I don't press any key and then I hold shift, I'll create a square from an angle like that. Okay, a corner like that. All right, I hope you get it. Anyways, so that is that. Now let's use the shapes to come up with or explain the fill and stroke. Okay, so right now what you see here, okay, this place, what you see here is what is here. All right, so let's delete this guy. We have a square, so let's hit L on the keyboard for ellipse. Okay, in the same group with the rectangle. All right, so hold shift alt, create an ellipse from the center, release, you will have black. The reason why you are having black fill is that over here the fill is black. Okay, that is why if you create a shape, it automatically turns black. Okay, so let me duplicate this guy and use this to explain one or two things about this. So with the stroke and fill, if you're a beginner, it might confuse you, okay, but don't worry, it is way simpler than you might think. It is difficult. With the fill and stroke, if you're a beginner, it might confuse you for now, but you know, it's very simple and I will do my best to explain. So if let's please make sure you have two shapes, okay, square and a circle. Good. So right now, starting with everything, we need to change colors. Okay, so let's say we want to change this to red. Select it first. Always select your object first. Come over here, double click the fill. Okay, the one with the hole in it is the stroke. Okay, so if you want to change the fill, the whole color, the black to any color, make sure you double click the fill, double click it, and this color picker will pop up. You can pick any color that you want for this. Okay, now if we look at this thing, okay, this guy right here, we have nothing selected, but if I select this black guy, you can see that it will change. It will adapt to the properties of this, okay, the color properties of this. If I click this, it will change. So you always have to make sure that what you want to make changes to the object, make sure you select the object. So right now, if we look at this thing right here, you can see that we have a purple over here, but for the stroke, you can see that the stroke is white. Okay, that means this thing right here has a stroke, but since the background is white, we can't see it. But if I bring it here and we zoom in, you can see that there's a white stroke over there. That means anytime you look over here and it is white, there's a white stroke around it. If it is black, you double click on it, this will pop up. If it is black like that, you know, there's a black stroke around it. Good. So if you don't want any stroke around your shapes as you are creating logos, you don't want any strokes around it. If we come down here, okay, you can see this guy right here, the one with a red cross or red whatever in it, you find it here, which means you want to take away the stroke, you want to remove the stroke from it, or if you want to remove the fill. But first you have to make sure which one is in front, because if you look at this, the stroke is in front, not in front as it is in front of the shape, but over here it is in front. If I click the purple, you can see that the purple comes in front. If I click this, this one comes in front, because over here you can see that this one is in front, it cuts the stroke, but this one is also in front. Okay, that's what we have over here. So when you select this, let's say in our minds we want to take away the stroke, but the fill is in front. So if we click the none over here, thinking that we are taking away the stroke, we will take away the fill and the stroke will be left out. Okay, good. So that is why you always have to make sure which the one you want to take away is in front. Right now we want to take away the black stroke, so let's make sure we click the stroke. Okay, it is black, it comes in front, and now when we click the none, it set it to none. But the mistake here is that it didn't go because I didn't select the object. So you can see that I've set it to none, but when I click this, it will still come back to black because I didn't select before making changes. Now I've selected the subject. If I click none, because the stroke is in front, I click, it will take away the stroke. There's no stroke around it. Very good. Now same thing with this guy. If I click this, you can see that the stroke has white, but the background is, so if you want to make changes to it, or if you want to change the color of a stroke, you can go up here. Okay, can come up here. You have the fill for here, this guy for the fill, and you have swatches for the stroke. You can change the stroke color and you have the color around it like that. Okay, it is in front. You can also change it from here, or the properties panel. If you select this guy, it will show up over here, but I normally use the control panel, the control bar up here. Okay, so that is that. Now then, talking about the swap, this guy, the arrow over here. Okay, this arrow, that's what here. All right, it is swapping. So right now we have an orange color for the stroke. So when you click the swap, it means now let the fill be orange, let the stroke be black. So if I select this object, click the swap, we are swapping. I know we've all swapped phones before, yeah. So if I click swap, the black becomes orange, the orange becomes black. That's the swapping as well. Good. Now let's talk about, so let's say the stroke, right now we don't have, we want to remove the stroke, we've removed the stroke, okay, and we swap. When we swap, the none will go to fill because it is swapping. So if I select this no stroke, I swap it, you can see that it takes away the fill, and then the color will go to the stroke. So we have nothing for the fill. And when you have nothing for the fill, selecting it, clicking it, you can't select it. You might think Illustrator is boring or annoying. There is nothing in there. There is nothing in there, so you can't click to select. If you want to select, click the stroke because only the stroke is visible. So over here there is a fill, so if I click, I can simply click and move around, but there is nothing in here. I can't move because there's nothing there anyway. So if you click the stroke, you can move it around, okay. And if you take away the stroke as well, it doesn't mean the shape is gone. The shape is there, but you can drag over the place. You have it selected and you can change the color for the stroke, okay, to have a stroke only, or you can swap it, okay, but you have to select the object first. Swap, you have this color, no stroke. Good. That is that about the color fill and all of that. So let's talk about the stroke, okay, the stroke size and everything. So let's pick the line tool, okay. On your keyboard you can use the backslash, okay. If you hit, the shortcut is backslash, or you can find it here, this arrow line tool over here. So with the line tool selected, click, drag anywhere, okay, and hold shift to get a straight line. Remove or release. When you release, you have a blue line, just a blue line. Now select the move tool, okay, and in the properties panel, this guy right here, if you drop it and you pick one, you have that, you see that you have a stroke, and over here this is the stroke only because there's a line, there is no fill. Okay, so with this one right here, we are going to use it to explain the stroke. So if you want to increase the stroke size, in the properties, drop this and make it 6, okay. Same way, this one, it doesn't have a stroke, so in case we give it a stroke, let me use up here. So if you click, you can see it is none. If you give it a yellow stroke, this guy is 1 pixel. The stroke for this shape is 1 pixel. So if I drop this, I can pick 7. It becomes bigger, okay. That is the stroke size. Over here in the properties panel, it is this. Good. So if you want dash or dash lines, you can get it by clicking on the stroke name to open up the stroke panel, okay. If you click it, the stroke panel will pop up. Let's do it in the properties so that you know I have enough space over here. So click the stroke, this will pop up, and the dash line is over here, so it will turn to dash line. And when you manipulate this, you can get you can make few changes to that, okay. The gap and all of that, you can change them here. All right, so when it comes to this arrowheads and the cap and all of that, it will take effect on the straight line or on a path, okay. So if we select this guy over here, all right, and up here, this guy is set to uniform. If I change it to this, you can see that we have 10 edges or 10 endings, and then the middle becomes thicker. So as you increase the stroke size from here, you can see that it's like bulging up, okay. It bulges. All right, so right now we have 30 for the stroke. You can change it, okay. It becomes this. So you can choose, you can have something like this from here. That's the stroke. Anyway, so let's choose uniform, okay. And this one right here, you can choose, this one is some styles for the stroke. This is a brush, and this one I don't know whether it's a G string pant or whatever. I don't know. Then we have effect. This one is a jean. Okay, but if you click this brush libraries over here and go to arrows, you can have artistic, can go through them later. Arrows, you come to arrow special and you choose an arrow from this list. Okay, you can increase or scale this up. Arrow, you can see that we have an arrow like that. Okay, you can choose arrows in here. Good. Let me undo and have our straight line back like that. So in the stroke panel, you can see we have cap over here. If you want to round the cap like this, you can see that the caps get rounded. And if you want inner or outer projection, you can do that. So in case you have round over here, and then the corners, it doesn't take effect on this path. Okay, and when we come to the arrowheads, if you drop the first one, you can have an arrowhead, okay, like that. The stroke size is big, so let's reduce it. So let's say 4. You can have an arrowhead at one ending, and over here too you can end it with an arrow or a different arrow, just like that. These are the arrowheads. Okay, and scale, what does the scale? Okay, so it scales the arrowheads. Anyways, so you can increase the scale, okay, or decrease one arrowhead. Okay, this is the profile. I've talked about the profile. Okay, all right, so that is that about stroke panel. So in summary, all we are saying is, you can close this guy. In summary, all we are saying is you can change colors from here. Right now with the fill, make sure the fill is in front, double click, you can change a color. All right, and right now this object is selected, it has its own color properties. If I click this, the colors will show up because we have a stroke over here. If you want to take away the stroke, we bring it in front, we set it to none, it will go away. If you want to swap colors, we make sure if we have a color for the stroke, we can swap. Okay, swap colors, and we can make changes to the stroke size using this. Okay, you can increase the stroke size. Okay, and in the properties panel too, it's the same thing over here. Okay, so you can make changes over here. Click this, swatches will pop up. You can pick any color for the stroke. Okay, click the fill, swatches will pop up. You can find the same settings up here, or you can change the colors here. All right, now since we know this, we can now jump to creating shapes. So in the next episode, we are starting with these groups. Okay, and we come to the pen tool and other tools. Okay, so I'll see you in the next episode.